Hi children, how are you all? Hope you are all fine and doing well and enjoying the learning. Now a hearty welcome to Samveda e-learning program. In today's class we are going to learn an interesting chapter from your 8th standard. Are you eager to watch and learn? Do you know which chapter is that? That chapter is very much interesting. It has so many applications in our day-to-day life. Are you ready? Shall we start? Yes. The chapter is Force and Pressure from your 8th standard. This is the first session and you can refer this chapter between the pages 127 and 146 in your textbook. Shall we begin now? Yes. In this chapter we will be discussing about what is force, we will be defining what is energy, and we will list out the differences between energy and the forces, we will list out the types of forces, we will see how to add the forces, and we also see the effects of forces and also the pressure. In today's session, let us begin the force and pressure. To start with, I have a challenge. Let me pose a challenge to you. The challenge is simple like this. You can see a box, very attractive box. Challenge is, can anyone move this box by hand but without touching it? You imagine you have box in front of you. The challenge is that, can you move that box without actually touching it by hand? You may be having varied answers, but without touching it we cannot move. The answer will be no, big no. Why can't anyone move the box without touching it? Actually, what is applied to move it? A force or an energy? In our day-to-day life, most of the times we use force, energy and even power synonymously. That means, we use all of these words alike. We do not find any difference between them in general life, in day-to-day life, in common life. But in physics they are different. Let us try to understand clearly whether it is a force or an energy which is moving the box, which causes motion. Let us understand. Here is a box or an object. I have to move this box. Presently the box is stationary, that means it is at rest. To put it under motion, we have to apply force. But from where this force comes? Let us understand. Here is a man, he has some energy, muscular energy. That energy he has in himself, a closed system. You know, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be converted from one form to another form. Now, the muscular energy which is there inside the body of the person will come into picture when he pushes the box. The act of pushing is force. He is using his muscular energy and applying the energy in the form of force, and that causes the motion, and displacement also takes place, and we can say work is done. But sometimes even when we apply force using our energy, there may not be any motion. At that time we say no displacement, displacement is 0, and we say work is also 0. I hope you understood now. Let me take another example. Look at the picture. You can see an elephant at work. Elephant in its body has lot of energy. Using that energy, it is lifting the wooden block. Lifting, you just see it is lifting using the energy. Lot of energy is under use. But look at another picture, the same elephant is not using that much of energy, is using only a bit of energy and applying bit of energy and pushing the head of the boy gently, and it is blessing the boy. Did you find the difference between both of the pictures? In the first picture, most of energy is applied to lift the wooden log. In next picture, little of energy is used to bless the child. That is how the energy which is present in the system is applied in the form of force. Therefore, we say energy is scalar quantity, that means it has no direction, only quantity it has, magnitude it has, whereas force it has both magnitude and also the direction. Let us see some more examples. Look at this person bowling. He is using his energy to throw the ball forcefully, and the same person when he wants to stump, he is not using that much of energy, he is using only little energy and applying in the form of force. In the first case, maximum energy is being used to throw the ball, and in the second case only little energy is used to stump the batsman. You understood the difference between them, I hope. Now, observe this video. See what he is doing. He is pushing, and next he is pulling, and now he is lifting. Oh, he is catching, and next he stopped the falling letter E. Doing all these activities, is he applying force? Let us see. You have other activities also given in your textbook. A goalkeeper stopping the ball, a hockey player moving the ball, a cricketer fielder stopping the ball which is moving. In all these cases, force is coming to picture. We have another activity, table 11.1 in your textbook. They have listed the activities. In the first situation, moving a book placed on the table. What is the action you are doing? To move the book, you may be pushing. Next one, opening or shutting a door. You have to list out the activity, that means you have to tick the action, whether it is pushing, pulling or whatever. Third one, drawing a bucket of water from a well. What is the action we do there? Is it pushing or pulling? You have to write in the tabular column. Next, we have a football player taking a penalty kick. What is doing? What is the action? Cricket ball hit by a batsman. Is it a pushing or pulling? You decide these actions and list out them, name them, and finally, you can sum up all of them to be a push or pull. Now, by observing all these activities or performing all these activities on your own, now you can define force is a push or a pull exerted by a body. The source for this push or pull is the energy. Now, you can define force very well. Let us move on. After defining the force, we have to differentiate between energy and force. As I told in the beginning, in our day to day life, we use energy and force synonymously. That means, we use them as they are same, but in physics they are different. Let us list out the differences. First column is for energy and the second column is for force. Energy, as you know, is the capacity to do work, but force is a push or pull. Energy is a scalar quantity, that means it has only magnitude, whereas force is a vector quantity, that means it has both magnitude and direction. Energy is measured in joules and symbol for this is capital letter J, and force is measured in Newton and represented with capital letter N. Joule and Newton are the names of scientists given to the units of these physical quantities as a token of respect to those great scientists. Let us move on. Look at these pictures. Children are playing, pushing one another, and they are playing merry-go-round, and here is an incident where the man is pulling the cow and cow is in turn pulling the man, but actually who is pulling whom? Both of them, they are under interaction. Forces are due to interaction. Looking at these examples, we can say forces are due to interaction. There should be at least two objects must interact for a force to come into play. Therefore, look at this. To apply muscular force, there should be a contact, then only we can apply muscular force. Therefore, muscular force is a contact force. And similarly, force of friction. Friction comes only by contact. When a box is pulled like this, there will be a contact between the bottom of the box and the floor, then there comes a force of friction which comes again by the contact. Therefore, muscular force and frictional forces are contact forces. Are there other contact forces in nature? Yes, there are. Let us see what are they. The other contact forces are tension forces, that means the tension when you pull a rubber band or when you tow a car by tying that car which is under repair by another car, there will be a tension force in the rope which is pulling the car. And air resistance force is contact force. Applied force, that means the force which we apply to move a body, that applied force is a contact force, and spring force is also a contact force. You can study other books or you can visit to websites and you can list out some more contact forces. Let us move on. Oh, look at this picture. They are playing your favorite game, tug of war. All children will enjoy playing tug of war. You know the rules of tug of war. There will be two teams, and do you know who is the winner? Yes, the one who pulls the red ribbon towards themselves will be the winning team. How do they win? Yes, if they apply more force, then they will win. The one who lose, they will be applying less force. When I say more force and less force, it is evident that force can be measured. It is a measurable quantity, we can say like that. Therefore, that measurable quantity of force is the magnitude of force. And look at this, one team is pulling the rope from left to right, the other team is pulling the rope from right to left. See the direction, it is from right to left, the other team left to right. There is a direction for the force. Therefore, we say the force is a vector quantity. Let us understand what it is. Let us write it. You can also take it down. You can also note down. Force is a vector quantity, that means force has both magnitude and direction. The measurable quantity is known as the magnitude of the force. The SI unit of force is Newton, represented with capital letter N. We measure mass and represent in kilograms. We measure length and represent in meters. In same way, force is measured and it is said as Newton. What is 1 Newton? You have an idea what is 1 kg, what is 1 meter, what is 1 second, you have an idea, but do you know how much is 1 Newton? Let us understand that part. The force required to accelerate the mass of 1 kg by 1 meter per second square, then that force is known as 1 Newton. You know very well, when I apply force, a mass or a body can be set into motion. That means it can be accelerated. So, the force required to accelerate the body of 1 kg by 1 meter per second square is known as 1 Newton of force. If I say like this, you may not know how much it is, you may not feel how much it is exactly. Look at this person, what he is doing? Is he applying any force? Just to say, superficially we can say, no, he is not doing any work, he is not applying any force. But look at the sofa, it is pushed downwards. Why it is pushed downward? Yes, the person is having some mass. That mass is pulled by the gravity downwards. That is the weight of that person. Weight is nothing but force. Therefore, this person is putting force on the sofa. Similarly, when there is a mass of 100 gram, that mass is pulled down by gravity. That gravity will be exerting a force which is known as acceleration due to gravity. Because of this gravity, the mass will be accelerated downwards. There will be a force of acceleration acting on falling body. Now, we can say that is force. Force is equal to mass into acceleration, you know. In this case, mass is 0.1 kg because 100 gram is nothing but 0.1 kg. Acceleration due to gravity means when the body is falling freely, its velocity gets changed, that is accelerated at the rate of 10 meters per second per second. The velocity of the falling body changes 10 meters per second per every second. That is why it is 10 meters per second square. When these two are multiplied, we get the force, that is 1 Newton. Force is nothing but weight of the body. Now, we can understand that when I hold a 100 gram of mass in my hand, the weight which it puts on my hand will be the quantity, that is 1 Newton. I hope you understood. Okay. Let me explain. If the body is falling downwards, that is say 100 gram of mass, if it is falling downwards, how to stop it? I can hold my hand against it and I can stop it. Now, the mass will be pushing downwards. That mass which is pulled downwards by the gravity will be exerting 1 Newton of force on my hand. That is how 1 Newton can be understood. I hope you understood how much is 1 Newton. Now, you can imagine how many Newtons we are using in our day to day life in different activities. When I pull a draw, it may be 5 to 6 Newtons. When I lift a 50 kg, it will be of about 500 Newton. If I lift 5 kg, it will be of 50 Newton. If a boxer hits a blow, then it will be of 1000 Newtons together, depending on the force how much he applies. I hope you have an idea now how much 1 Newton and how many Newtons we are using in different activities. Shall we move on? Yes. Look at these boys, they are pushing the box from one direction and therefore the forces gets added up. That means force applied on an object in the same direction, they add on. The resultant force will be 15 Newton. Look at these boys, they are pushing the box in the opposite direction. Now what happens? Can you imagine? What will be the resultant force? Will it be more or will it become less? Obviously, the resultant force will become less, because they are moving, they are pushing it in different directions. So, let us see that. Let me say one person is applying 7 Newton and the other person is applying 5 Newton in the opposite direction. The resultant force is only 2 Newtons. If the forces are applied on an object in the opposite direction, then the net force is the difference between them, that is 2 Newton. Now, you have another situation where equal and opposite forces are applied on a body. When these forces of 7 Newton applied on a body, what happens? What will be the resultant force? Yes, you are right, the resultant force will be 0. That means the body will be remaining there only without any movement. Body will not be under motion when equal and opposite forces are applied on it. If the forces are applied on an object in the opposite direction, if they are equal, then the net force is 0. I hope you understood this addition and subtraction of the forces, when we have to add and when we have to subtract. But in your coming classes, in your higher classes, you will be knowing more about addition of these forces. There we are using the law of parallelogram for the addition of these forces. Now, let us move on to see what are the effects of forces. When force is applied, the body can move. Force may make an object move from rest, or force may change the speed of an object if it is already moving. Let us see that animation. The sponge is at rest. When I apply force, that can be moved. And similarly, when the body is under motion, the speed can be increased by applying force. And next, the force may change the direction of motion of an object. Force may bring about a change in the shape of an object. You just imagine a football. When the ball is kicked by a person, it keeps moving. If the other person kicks it, it may move in the opposite direction, different direction. Therefore, force changes the direction of motion of an object. It is like this. When the ball is moving, a force can change. The bringing of the hand in the way of the ball is exerting the force and changing the direction of the ball. You can see it once again. Yes. And similarly, look at the picture. The sponge is squeezed by applying the force, and you can see the change in the shape of the sponge. These are the effects of force. Look at this another example, where the rubber band is being pulled downwards and it is changing the shape as well as the size. Now, you can remember the challenge. The challenge was like this: can you move this box without touching? Now, your answer is no, and you also know the reason, because muscular force is contact force. Therefore, you cannot push the box or you cannot move the box without touching it. Muscular force is a contact force. That is the reason why you can't push the box. Do we have any other forces, that is non-contact forces in nature? Do we have also non-contact forces in nature? Think over it, read some books, you may search internet also, you can discuss with your friends or teachers, you can find the answer for non-contact forces. Now, after learning all these points, let us have a quick recapitulation. Force is a push or pull. It is a vector quantity, that means it has both magnitude, which is measurable, and it also has direction. Without direction, force has no meaning. Whenever you have some situations, you have to show the direction of the force using an arrow mark. Measured in Newton, if a mass of 1 kg is accelerated at the rate of 1 meter per second square, then that is 1 Newton. Force can change the state of motion, that means force can move a body which is at rest, or it can stop the body which is under motion. Both it can do. On the whole, we can say it can change the state of motion, and next force can change the shape and size of an object. Okay children, now it is quiz time. I hope it is very interesting to you, and the quiz is based on what we have learnt so far. Shall we begin the quiz? Yes. Here is the first question. You have to fill the blank. To draw water from a well, we have to dash at the rope. The answer is we have to pull the rope. Next question. To move a loaded trolley, we have to dash it. Can you think and answer? Yes, we have to pull or push. Congratulations, you have answered correctly, I feel. Next question. Force is a vector quantity, which means it has both dash and dash. Did you get the answer? It has both magnitude and direction. The fourth question. Weight is the pull exerted by the force of dash on the mass. Weight is the pull exerted by the force of gravity on the mass. Hope you got the answer for this. Now, as an extended activity, I am giving you the homework. You have to answer these two questions. List out non-contact forces that you observe in nature. The second question is a statement problem. You have to calculate the force required to lift a mass of 10 kg against the gravity. Here you can take g, that is acceleration due to gravity, as 10 meters per second, that is 10 meters per second square. Taking this data, you can calculate the force. I hope you will complete this homework and you will submit it to your teachers. Thank you very much for listening, and in our coming class we will be discussing about non-contact forces and also the pressure. Thank you once again.